This is NLPS ED Talks, a podcast brought to you by Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools. I'm Dale Burgos, the Executive Director of Communications, and I'll be sharing conversations with students, staff, and friends of the district. We'll learn, we'll laugh, we may cry, but most importantly, we'll share the unique stories of individuals that work and play in our school system. Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools is one of many school districts in British Columbia, Canada, and is centrally located in one of the most beautiful places in the world, Vancouver Island. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back to another year of the NLPS ED Talks podcast, and we're mixing it up for the first one this year. We've got someone outside of the school district, but still related to the school district in our podcast booth here. So first off, I'd like to introduce my guests. This is Rolanda Murray and Francesca Paladino, and they're from VIU. So say hello. Let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Rolanda.
Hi, I'm Francesca.
Perfect. Excellent. So we've got, they're both in the booth here. We're very excited. We're going to take the next few minutes and just talk about what VIU has to offer for our students. And because, well, quite frankly, I mean, you are the university in our area, in our immediate vicinity. You are the ones literally right up the street from us here at the board office. And so for a lot of the students that graduate in our district, a lot of them go over to VIU. And actually, one of my staff here actually graduated from VIU, and so speaks very highly of the program there.
Oh, that's great.
Does not speak highly of the stairs, though.
We've heard that before.
Keeps you in great shape, though.
She's never said that. Full disclosure, but I have. I've said that when I have to go to the cafeteria, and I'm in a rush. But you know what, though? How awesome is that campus? That campus is amazing.
It is beautiful, especially on a clear day. You can see all the mountain range, the ocean. It's gorgeous.
And now we've got a little bit of that transition into fall that's got it looking extra pretty.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
a little bit of red, a little bit of orange.
All right. Yes, I had a meeting once up in the, I think one of the boardrooms that you have there with ex-president Ralph Nielsen, I believe his last name was, right? Yes. And sitting in there, and he's talking to us, and I'm looking out the window. And he didn't notice, obviously, but you know what? Wow. How awesome is that campus? Yeah. And you have a Starbucks.
We do have a Starbucks.
Yeah, it is up quite a few flights of stairs from our office, though. So some days I'm like, caffeine, exercise.
And it's pumpkin spice latte season. So
it is
if that's your jam.
Latte. Yeah. Not mine, but I know that there's a lot of people. I'm a tea drinker. Maybe there's a pumpkin spice tea. I don't know. Okay, we're getting off topic here. Okay, so let's get right into it. So if people have listened to our podcast before, we've invited guests into the studio who live, work, and play here in the district, and so for you, there's a connection there, obviously. But we'd like to get to know the people that we're talking to on the podcast. So let's take a few minutes right now. Okay, so Rolanda, you're right in front of me here. So let's get a little bit of history. How long have you been with the university now?
Gosh, well, as an employee, I've been there about 14 years in various different capacities. Okay. But I, of course, am a VIU alumna. So I went there I'm not going to tell you when, quite frankly, it's okay. A while back, in the way back days. I took a Bachelor of Arts with a major in history, and I've also taken our event management program. So I'm an alumna twice over. But yeah, I've been working at the university for about 14 years, and the past 4 years as a recruiter.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay, how about you, Francesca?
Yeah, I've been at the university about 4 years. I started off in education abroad, so sending students away on exchanges and cool stuff like that. Then COVID happened, and so there wasn't much of a need for. I know that word that should not be named, but so then I ended up moving into the office of future students, and I've been working as a recruiter for the last year. I was also a former student. I'm aging myself with this reference back when it was Malaspina College University.
Yes.
But yeah, I started off in the Bachelor of Arts program. I was doing creative writing. I did eventually transfer over to UVic. I know I'm such a traitor, but I kind of wanted a bit of a bigger city feel. So I finished my degree there, but I'm very happy to be back in Nanaimo and to be working at the university. It's great.
I'm sure they're happy to have you. Oh, that's excellent. Good. I also went to UVic. I took some courses over there.
Nice.
Great university, right?
Yeah.
But it's
less
funny
stairs.
You said bigger city. Less stairs, yeah. It's a circle.
Yeah.
You can't get lost.
Nice and flat and circular.
If you pass something, just keep walking and you'll
exactly.
bump into it again.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Well, that's good. Well, it makes sense for you to come in because we've had conversations and our board has supported the partnership with VIU. I should point that out. So many years ago, the board of the day had said that they are more than willing to help promote and foster the relationship between the university and the school district. So nice, tight relationship. So it's really good that you're both here right now to talk about it. So really, I'd like to get right into it. So we're early in the year right now. So those listening to it, and you're listening to it right now, we're recording this on near the end of September. But if you're listening to this, it could be later on in the year. But students start preparing and start thinking about university already, right? And so, what do you have to do? So then my first question, and what I like to look at is now, how can students prepare for applying to post-secondary? I think that's really important for them to start thinking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, one of the first things I think a student should consider is what is their ultimate goal as far as a career, right? That can definitely be the most challenging. It's hard to know, right? Especially when you're still in high school. It's hard to think ahead like that. But if a student's unsure, then they might want to consider meeting with a career counselor at their local Work BC office. Or going on the Work BC website. They have some really great career aptitude tests that can help a student kind of explore their strengths and interests. Another trick that I always suggest to students that are a little unsure is to start looking at job postings and see, what interests you. And once you're looking at job postings, you can see, okay, wow, this is my dream job. What kind of educational requirements are needed for this dream job? Like, do they want a master's degree, or is an undergraduate degree acceptable? Are they looking for credentials in a specific subject? For instance, say your dream job required a master's degree. So you're going to want to start researching institutions that offer this degree and see what their admission criteria is. So this can sort of help, get the thought process started and a bit of a determination where to start. So once you have an idea where to begin, then you're going to want to look at different schools that offer the program you want, and thoroughly review those admission requirements, the application deadlines. And that's a really great time to connect with someone like myself or Rolanda or any of the other recruiters in our office, because we can help you make sure that you're meeting the requirements and that you're not missing any of the deadlines, right?
Oh, sorry. So I'll pause for a second.
Yeah.
So you're saying that at any time, students who's thinking about they're going to be graduating, they're thinking about post-secondary, they can just give you a shout. They'll just call you up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can reach us by phone. They can reach us by email. They can just pop into the office. It is a bit of a busy time of year for us. So I would recommend, making an appointment. That way we can make sure we come prepared and be ready for you when you arrive. But yeah, absolutely. Even if students are kind of stuck between a few different programs, they want to know more about what are some career options, we can help guide them as best we can, right?
Okay.
We're actually spending a lot of this season right now traveling around with different organizations, sometimes with our colleagues at UVic, to different schools and school districts. I just came back from Langley. Fran did some work out of your school, Dover, last week. And so we will be in many of the schools, but certainly, as Fran said, an appointment for local students is great. We'd love to meet them, show them around. And our email is really easy to remember. It's connect@viu.ca.
That's a great point. Yeah, we will be doing lots of school visits, presentations, and traveling with some of the other colleges and institutions. So definitely keep an eye out for us at your local school.
Okay, good plan. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, that was pretty much it, but yeah, reach out to us. We're here to help. And if there is a program you're thinking about, start thinking a little bit early about some of those supporting documents. Some programs only require your transcripts, but others are going to want to see a resume, volunteer hours, references. So it's good to start looking and thinking about those pieces early. Yes. So you have your ducks in a row, and when it comes time to apply, you're ready to go.
No kidding. Okay. Now, you might have answered a lot of my next question here. And I remember going back and thinking grade 12, and the thing to do was go to university. That's what my parents told me that I had to do, right?
Mine
go to university. But it's a little bit, I would say, a little bit daunting, a little bit overwhelming, right? And so you've touched a little bit on that and the process that it takes to apply to university. And so, you shared a few things. Are there other aspects of preparation for post-secondary that a future post-secondarian would consider or look at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going to want to think about what it is that you as a person are looking for in a college or university or post-secondary institution, right? Yeah. Some people might prefer a smaller school with like close-knit classes where they really get a chance to get to know the other students in their program. But maybe not. Maybe you prefer a larger school and you can kind of slip into anonymity a little bit. Or maybe you're an athlete, so that's going to weigh heavily on your decision what kind of team sports are available. Or maybe you're looking for something very niche, or you're an art student, and that's something that's going to factor into your decision as well, right? So one thing that I think is great is booking a campus tour of an institution you're considering. Right. That'll give you a chance to get a feel for the community, get a feel for the institution. At VIU, for us specifically, our campus tours are run by our student ambassadors. So those are students that are already enrolled in programs. So that's a great opportunity to kind of pick their brain, ask them what their experiences have been like.
Oh, perfect.
And so, I definitely encourage any students who haven't really spent much time at VIU to contact us if they're interested in coming for a tour and just seeing a little bit more about what the VIU community is like.
Okay. A couple things, and I always like to share on these as well. So back in 1990, when I graduated, I don't care but I remember choosing University of Winnipeg over University of Manitoba because it had the smaller classes. And so when you mentioned some of the feelings of smaller classes, bigger classes, a little bit of feeling of anonymity, where does VIU sit in that realm?
Well, we're definitely, I'd say more of a mid-size institution. Like, we're big enough to offer all the things you'd expect from a university. Like we have on-campus housing, theater, gym, sports teams, all that kind of stuff that you would probably look for in post-secondary. But our student population across all of our campuses is only about 12,000. So you're looking at class sizes are about 35 students per class on average.
Oh, that's nice.
So more like a high school size class. So
very close.
It is great for, getting to know your professors, getting to know other students, accessing that extra support if you need it. And so it can be VIU can be like a really popular option too for students who maybe they're wanting to go on to a bigger post-secondary institution, but it's a little bit daunting, right? Because there's a lot of things to consider if you're moving to a new town and transitioning to university. Like, that's a lot. So some students might choose to start off at VIU because it is a bit more of an easier transition. The class sizes are smaller. And then maybe, do like what I did and choose to transfer on to another school once they're settled in a little bit.
Right.
But lots of students, they think that's what they want, and then they start off at VIU and they end up quite falling in love with it, and they end up sticking around, which we love to hear. But it can be a great transitional school for students that are maybe a little bit weary of going off to new city. Yeah,
that's true. And where we're at right now too, and how housing costs, for example, right? Or if you're a student who doesn't mind still living at home after you're 18, save a few bucks, right? Go to the university here in town, and then you don't have to be paying that rent in other areas of the country. I mean, it is quite expensive now to be living on your own, right?
And not just that, but you imagine a student that's transitioning out of grade 12 into university. If they're home, the only thing about their life that changes is where they're going to school. So they're going from NDSS to VIU. Right. They still have their same friends, all the same places that they hang out and do fun things, the same support system. Their parents are there if they need them. And so I find for a lot of students that transition to VIU can be really beneficial because it's just the one thing that changes. You're just going to school. And they get that first year underneath their belt, right? And they get like, oh, this is actually not as hard as I maybe thought, or as confusing as I maybe thought, and there's lots of support for me to be successful here. And so, students can come to VIU with an idea of transferring. As Francesca says, we more often than not, I think, convince them to stay with us longer than they might have thought. But whatever they choose to do is totally their path, and we support that.
Yeah, that's a great point with the housing market being what it is. It is a little bit stressful. So a lot of students are opting to stay closer to home, at least to begin with, so that they can, save some money on rent and then just eliminate the stress of, trying to find housing, trying to navigate the rental market. It can be a lot. There's a lot of complexities of managing independent living and budgeting and financial responsibilities. So yeah, it does make sense that some students are choosing to stay close to home, at least to start.
Okay. Well, actually, that is a great segue into my next question then is, there's thoughts of either staying at home, going to university, or leaving home and going somewhere else, and they just maybe want to get away from family, who knows, right? Whatever the situation would be, or the programs that are offered, right? For me, I think a big... when I first moved to Nanaimo and walked up to the university here, I went, oh, you can have your own pets when you come and go to VIU. And I'm talking about the rabbits. Obviously, that's probably one of the pros, I think, of living out there. But I think it's also a con because I've walked in our fields and I've tripped over these bunny holes. So you got to be very careful out there. In all seriousness, though, what are the pros and cons to either leaving or staying? What are the thoughts?
Sure. Well, yeah, we have kind of touched on a bit of the pros and cons. I mean, certainly we've mentioned that, being able to live at home while going to university, saving on rent, not having so many huge changes in your life at once. Like Rolanda said, it's just where you're going to school that changes in that aspect. So yeah, like we said, a lot of students, they feel a little bit overwhelmed about all the pieces of relocating to a new city, starting university, living on their own, managing their budget. It's a lot, right? But I mean, some other students, like myself, eventually, once I settled into university, like they're a bit maybe eager for change of environment, or an opportunity to meet new people. So choosing to go away for school, and to live away from home and live on campus is a good opportunity to make new friends, who also are probably new to the area. So the social aspect can be a really big part of the experience, right? And we mentioned too that some might kind of do a bit of both and choose VIU as a bit of a transitional university, right? So yeah.
Okay. I like that. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, we talked about the student that might start with us and transition. We also get a fair number of students that start elsewhere.
Yes.
And come back home. And, for those students, that might feel like a misstep. I think it's a perfectly reasonable step. You did what you thought was right and you went maybe away for a university. And if that doesn't feel like it's a good fit for you, then come on home. We have these services and supports in our community. And so we do get some students that thought they wanted to move away and tried that out. And for a variety of different reasons, they come home. And that's great too. I mean, our campus community is really diverse and made up of lots of different kinds of learners. And so I think it's just really important that high school students who are transitioning know that their path is going to look unique and different. And that everybody's path is valid and just perfect.
That's an excellent point. And, one of the really good benefits about if you are transferring, to VIU from another institution, we are pretty flexible with our, transfer student admissions. It's nothing too crazy. Like some post-secondary, in order to transfer, there are a lot of requirements or a grade point average you have to meet. For the most part, it's quite straightforward to transfer to to VIU.
Both, really.
Well, right. So because the courses can be transferred, it doesn't matter, right? Okay.
Yeah. BC post-secondaries work very well together as a collaborative group, and so we're looking to service the students that study in British Columbia.
Right.
So, generally speaking, I would say that it is a very easy process, that all universities are supportive, but as Fran indicates, particularly VIU takes a very progressive stance with a generous stance with transfer, because that's how we are at VIU. We want to work with students. We want to welcome them to our campus and have them feel like the transition is easy.
Very good. Yes. You know what? Actually, I have to say too, as an aside, we get a lot of VIU graduates here, and there's a great education program over there. There is the community support worker program. So a lot of those people who take that course come and become EAs in our in our district. There's a new health sciences center, I believe, or building that was built just a few years ago, not too long ago, right? you have a athletics teams who are champions.
Go Mariners!
Yeah, right. Yeah, they win the national championships.
Yes.
I've heard that as well. So there seems to be a lot of programs, and so maybe some other examples are there. Like. What else could someone, look at VIU?
Yeah. Some of our more popular programs, Bachelor of Kinesiology is a huge one. People looking to go into maybe going on to like sports therapy or rehabilitation. Our Bachelor of Science in Nursing, always a really popular one, and there's always a huge need for healthcare workers. So that is a great pathway. What are some other ones?
Oh gosh, sort of some of my favorites. Yeah. We just did a complete refresh on our Jazz Studies diploma. And so really great to have that back, and it's looking really wonderful, and so happy that we have something local for students who are interested in music, either for a profession or just for the love of playing music. I'm always a big fan of the trades. I think that I can see lots of growth in employment in the trades, and for the student that is interested in sort of getting in and out of post-secondary in a short amount of time, but wanting to secure a job that's going to pay a reasonable living wage, the trades is the answer there. So, I mean, we have everything from welding to hairdressing to, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'm not going to do the whole list, but all the industrial trades, as well as some service trades, information technology.
Horticulture, that's a program a lot of students don't realize we have, and they actually work off campus at the GR Payne Horticulture Center. So it is a huge piece of property. They do a bit of like landscape architecture, like sustainable growth. Right. They have a bunch of like greenhouses. It's really neat, and they grow poinsettias that they sell every year. So they're hard at work at that right now.
There's other campuses too, right? I mean, there's the one you just mentioned. There's one here in Nanaimo, and there's some other ones on the island. Is there not?
Yeah, well, GR Payne is just the horticulture students that study there, but we do have our Cowichan campus in Duncan.
Yes.
We have Tushimout, which is in Powell River, and then we have our Parksville. It's more of a center. It is a bit of a smaller building, but there are our spa and aesthetic students run out of there, as well as some professional development programs as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Good. Okay, some really good options. So let's go back now. So the kids graduated. They've registered and they've gotten into VIU. What does it look like for their first year?
Yeah, so I just because, as you say, the time of year that we're in, I do want to say that many of our programs will be opening applications for September 2024 admission, and those applications are going to open October 1st. Wow. So really quickly now is the first opportunity for high school students to begin applying. I often say trades never sleeps, so they never close their applications. They're always accepting, but many of our more academic programs will open on October 1st. Okay. So VIU is really geared towards providing students the support they need to be successful. Students can expect in their first year a lot of different supports alongside lots of opportunities to get involved in student life. In terms of support, there's all the services in student affairs, including advising, accessibility services, financial aid, athletics, health and wellness, and counseling. Our health and wellness people are the folks that bring you the therapy dogs in our library once a week, I believe. Mm-hmm. So these are therapy dogs that come into the library, so students are feeling like they need to chill out or connect in a way that de-stresses them. That's one of the things that we do in our sort of vast array of health and wellness. Sometimes, that petting a dog can make all the difference if you're having a bad day. I know it may sound like a silly thing or a frivolous thing, but, wellness is a wide variety of different things, and we want to make sure we have something for everybody. So,
I am a dog person, so I can contest to that. Attest to that.
And then in terms of events, which is another way that we welcome new students to our campus, there are two that new students should try not to miss. In the early part of the year, VIU hosts Rock VIU, which is a student-led event, and the VIU Students Union hosts Frosh Week. So the Students Union is an organization on campus that's really important for students. They advocate for our students, but also host several events for students throughout the year. So these are multi-day events that are fun, but also a great way for students to get familiar with the campus. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I know there's so much. It's hard to sort of pick a favorite.
And it just sounds like such a welcoming, community atmosphere, right? Yeah. It's, if you can imagine, well, there may be some students that are local, but maybe some coming from, you've got a large international population as well, right?
Yeah, we do.
So it's nice to have them feel welcome.
Yeah, and they actually, I think, is what those international students, I think, really add something to our campus, right? Mm-hmm. So our local students have an opportunity to meet students from around the world who think differently, who have different experiences, and those opportunities to meet those people from other countries, I think, is one of the things that makes our campus experience so valuable.
Yes, indeed. Let's talk a little bit about graduates. When I graduated from high school, like I told you, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, and I always ask a lot of questions. I think that's why I ended up going into journalism. Right? And so, what are some of the questions that you would receive?
Well, first of all, Fran and I can attest that we've been asked everything and are always happy to answer anything.
There are no stupid questions.
No, there are no stupid questions. But I would say the most common questions we get relate to not being totally sure what they want to take, which you and Fran have chatted about. It's very common and part of the process. University is specifically about exploring and trying out different things. Recruiters like Fran and I and our colleagues Jordan and Rob can help students pick a place to start. And once they're students, we have an amazing team of advisors that can help them change course if they want to. So changing course is common, and there's lots of support for doing that. If a student isn't sure what they want to study in first year, we recommend that they start with what is most interesting to them or something that they really liked studying in high school. Another good way to decide is to think about what problems or issues facing the world today they are most passionate about solving. One example of this could be, are you concerned about global warming or homelessness? Or about the decreasing number of Vancouver Island marmots, which students are studying right now. These issues can lead them into an interesting path of study. And if they really don't know, it is okay to start first year by taking a variety of different things and seeing what lands for them.
We have an option just for that too called exploratory studies. So it's an option, kind of a stepping stone option for students if they're not really sure and they don't want to be committing to a full program. They can start in exploratory studies. They can take a variety of different subjects, and then when they're ready, they can move into the program of their choice.
Oh, now is that something similar to back in the day? There was U1 for me, so University 1, and there was just your first year was sort of just open, and you just take whatever courses, and so is that sort of the same thing? Because for example, I hear our trade students take the trade sampler course because they think they like the trades, but they're not sure of which one, and so they try a bunch of different ones. So that sounds sort of like the same thing, where it can kind of give you a taste of different courses.
Definitely similar, but yes, specifically academic courses.
But academic. Okay, I love it. Okay. Any activities, events coming up that some people might want to take advantage of?
Yeah, there with an art gallery and a theater and a music program. There's always something going on. But in particular, there's two that we're particularly excited about. On October 20th is a Pro D for your students, and so we are taking that opportunity to host a class shadow day. So this is for students who are curious about university, but maybe aren't sure what that first year university course experience is going to look like. So this is an opportunity for them to sit on a university class. They can just listen. They can participate if they want to. They will not be assigned any homework, so they get a pass on that.
Oh, excellent.
But it is an opportunity to just shadow in a class, and I think, gosh, I feel like we have over 40 different offerings for students to try. They can Google that VIU Class Shadow and register online. They do have to register because we want to be prepared for our guests. Okay. Yep. And then another really exciting one is Discover Fest at VIU. So this is a brand new event that we're doing. It's the next day on October 1st from 12 to 4 at the Nanaimo campus.
October 21st.
21st. Thank you. October 21st from 12 to 4. This free community event is for everybody, not just high school students, but of course, Fran is going to be there to talk to anyone who is interested in learning more about our programs and becoming a VIU student. But it's far more than just that. We're going to have live music, an artisan market, activities for kids, food trucks, so much more. We do have a website for that. It's viu.ca/discoverfest. And we are really hoping the Nanaimo community and surrounding communities will come out to that. We always love showing off our campus, and we love to have fun. So it's a great opportunity to do both of those things.
Yeah, and if you'd like to learn more, if you're at that age, if you're in grade 11 or 12 and you're considering becoming a VIU student, you'd like to learn a little bit more, I will be presenting throughout the day. So yeah, come see me and learn a little bit more about becoming a student.
I love it. So there's a lot of things going on. And, we did talk about graduating students out of our district, for example, and districts across the province or all over the world. But adults can also go to VIU.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah, I would say something like more than half of a student population is considered mature student. Really? So, yeah, it's very common. We see all the time, even prospective students in their 50s who are looking for a total career change and ready to start from scratch. So, and that just also goes to show, you don't always have to have it figured all out. I talk to a lot of students that are stressed because they're not really sure what it is they want to do. But it just goes to show you could be in your 50s and still not know what you want to be when you grow up and still be exploring different options. Right. So, yeah, it's never too late to come back to school.
And we're a great option for adults. I mean, we've all had experiences where we, have a mother and a teenage son in grade 12 in the room, and we end up sort of talking to both parties.
It's true.
VIU is very supportive of our mature students. We have our academic and career preparation faculty, which they do many things, but one of the things they do is upgrading. So if I'm a 40-year-old woman who my children are now, going to school and sort of more independent, and I want to have something for myself that's different in my career, but I didn't get the grades in high school or didn't take the courses in high school I want, I can come to VIU and take my upgrading. It's a very supportive, again, very small class size environment, and the upgrading classes are tuition neutral. So it's a really great option for people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Okay, there's a lot of good info on here. I think we could probably keep talking about this for hours and hours, but maybe I'll leave it at that. But excuse me, I'd like to give you the opportunity, one of you, if you want to jump in here. It's your chance to set VIU apart from the other universities, and I want to hear your 30-second elevator pitch. Go.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Rolanda from Vancouver Island University, and I just wanted you to know that we are your hometown university, or if you're not familiar with us and you're from away, we are a beautiful, welcoming university on Canada's west coast, the most beautiful place on the earth, according to CNN, one of the 25 most beautiful places. Yeah. So we're offering this amazing lifestyle, but this great campus that's been around in this community for almost 100 years, doing our best to support our students in a wide variety of different programs. And so if you like small class sizes and real personalized experience and a community that really cares for your success, I invite you to reach out to us in recruitment. And we would love to tell you more about who we are and what's important to us.
Wow.
Nailed it.
She did nail that, didn't she? She was not looking at a phone. She wasn't reading anything. That was right off the top of her head.
It was. That was impressive.
Yeah. I feel like I need to go and register now at UVIU.
Well, I've been loving VIU for a really long time, so this is second nature to me.
Good for you. I love it. Yeah. Well, thank you both for coming. I really appreciate you sharing all this really good information. I think it's something that our students can take away and potentially have more in their tool belt to be prepared for next year for those that are graduating. So thank you, Rolanda, Francesca, all the best.
Thanks for having us,
Thanks, Dale.
Have a good day.